We have a very simple question for the listeners. Are we too high on the Washington Commanders heading into their game against the Cleveland Browns? They're 3-1. They're atop the NFC East. They're the second highest scoring team in the NFC, just behind the New Orleans Saints. Might be a little bit fraudulent. They're a little front-loaded with their points. And they face the Chiefs Monday night. Are we too high on the Commanders?
But remember how you were talking about them after the first 2 weeks.
I'm well aware.
Now, this is more recent with Washington after the last 2 weeks. But if you flip-flopped it, how would you be talking about New Orleans now after the last 2 weeks if they were averaging 40 a game?
Cakes, your answer is it's highly possible. What is the combined record of
offense through 4 weeks? If they come in here and somehow put up like
375,
350 to 375 total yards when they haven't been able to do that all season long,
it's a big issue.
Then you're just going to be like, okay, the defense still a fraud, even though they held Arizona to 14 points last week. Like it's still an Achilles heel for them. It's going to haunt them throughout the season.
We just had Baldinger on, and Baldinger lauded the Cleveland Browns defense. So it will be a test for this offense. I don't know that the defense can really get that much better because they just don't have the personnel.
I think it kind of depends on the opponent. You know what I mean? Like if the opponent has a really bad offensive line that can maybe take advantage of it. But if they've got a legit quarterback and a good offensive line,
yeah.
You
could also argue that
they'll be able to move the ball.
The Browns, they've faced some pretty inferior competition as well.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, they've dropped games to the Giants and the Raiders. And their only win is a squeaker over the Jags. So maybe they just haven't seen an offense they're about to see this weekend.
How would you answer your own question, Cakes?
Are we too high on them? I'd say maybe slightly. I don't think we're way too high on them. Maybe a little too high.
Here's how
the defense still scares me.
The defense is very mediocre.
It's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah. So it's impossible. I can't buy them as a postseason threat of any real note unless they win their next two. If they beat I expect them to beat the Browns. By the way, that'll also send us back.
I don't expect
if they lose to the Browns.
I don't expect them to beat the Ravens.
I don't either.
In Baltimore?
I don't either. I think it's a 1 in 20 shot. But if they beat the Ravens, then all bets are off. Then they actually got something.
Well,
if they beat the Ravens, they actually have something because it makes no sense on paper. Derrick Henry will have 250 yards against them. Lamar will have 150. They're gonna give up 400 rushing yards.
True, but let's just say they do.
They have it in them.
Let's just say they do, because I expect Henry and Lamar to run all over them, and I'd expect them to lose that game.
Yeah.
But if they win Sunday and they're 4-1, the Ravens game's kind of gravy because then you get the Panthers, Bears.
I know.
Home.
I think they have a realistic shot. I said to get to 7-2, but I'm just saying. Even then, it would just be like, you know what, good fortune, good schedule, kind of, you know what I mean? You can't get too crazy.
No, I don't.
If they beat the Ravens, I'll actually say they're legit contenders.
If they're 5-1,
if they beat the Ravens, they're legit.
If they beat the Ravens in their house, then your expectations get ratcheted up.
What if they lose to the Browns but beat the Ravens?
I mean, it'd be fluky, but I would still say they're probably contenders. If you beat the Ravens, you're just legit with their record.
Yeah,
and we get to like, what would that be? I guess we would be
4-2 if they lose to the Browns.
They lose one of the next two, 4-2.
Yeah.
I don't see a scenario where we lose to the Browns and then beat the Ravens. I mean, that would just be the craziest thing.
All right, we're taking your calls at 800-636-1067. Are we officially too high on the Washington Commanders at this point?
Offensive explosions, are they flukes?
What are the percentages of making the playoffs at 4-1? It's got to be really freaking high.
Well, I think at 3-1 we said it was like 64% or something.
Well, to win the division at 3-1, if you're atop the division after week 4, it was right around 68% to make the playoffs.
That's a solid sweat, EB.
And then just to make the playoffs is 77%. So you're likely to win the division, and you're likely to make the playoffs.
Gotcha.
I mean, think about it. They make the playoffs in the first year after re-gutting the entire roster.
Right.
And rookie quarterback, whole new staff. I mean, that's
ahead of schedule.
Look,
way ahead.
We're probably jumping the gun because they played 4 out of 17.
Right.
But, man, that would be unbelievable.
It'd be great.
And if you beat the Browns and you're 4-1, you got basically 80% chance of doing it.
All right, let's bounce some of these calls. If you want to chime in, are we getting ahead of What are we?
Are we too high? Are we too high on the Commanders?
Are we over our skis?
Might be a little bit.
Well, if they continue and just drum the Browns,
right.
That's another one where I'm gonna have to say we might be really onto something. And I do expect to beat them.
I mean, if they beat the Browns 31-17, yes.
Getting into juggernaut.
Well, if they do that, then someone's not happy. 31.
If it's Drab's praying for a 28 to like 13.
Is that stressing you out at all, or you're just not even thinking about it?
I had forgotten about it until just now.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Just thinking about the score.
Drab needs it to be like 10-3 Commanders at the half.
I don't think they're going to get to 31 points.
All right, let's go to Steve in DC. Steve, what's up?
Hey guys, how you doing today?
What's up, Steve?
Right.
Just two things. First thing is I don't think we're going too high on the Commanders. Okay. Second thing is I know you guys were talking about this yesterday, but I think that the Davante Adams thing will be a suggestion for the simple fact when we start getting later on into these late seasons and we start playing like we're headed towards the playoffs. So when we start getting towards the playoffs, we start seeing these later teams that want to start playing as press. I think we're going to have to, when these cornerbacks start playing these playoff caliber, shut down corners, we're going to need Davante Adams to kind of break free because I like Noah Brown, but I think he's third at best as a receiver. And also I just also heard that Davante started following Jaden Daniels as of yesterday. So you might want to look into that.
Interesting.
Because, when we start getting to the playoffs, we're going to need somebody to kind of break free, especially if they're double teaming Terry. So we're going to need another outside receiver to put that pressure off of him, especially if we're projected to go to the playoffs. We're going to need that extra man. I think we could play a push for the playoffs, but I think he gets us over that hump once we get further and later into the season where we need that extra man. So why not go grab him and take him away from other playoff contenders that might need the receiver like him?
It just doesn't smell like an Adam Peters type of move to me. To go get an aging receiver.
I would bet against it if I had to place a bet on Davante going somewhere. It would be like the Jets or the Chiefs, maybe the Saints. I don't know. You're right. It doesn't seem like a Washington move.
Somebody told me this. I'm just gonna.
I think he would certainly help.
Pure rumor, and
a little birdie whispered it in your ear.
It's pure rumor. Okay, pure rumor.
Yes,
but they said that they know Tyreek Hill's mother.
Okay,
and that there's some interest in going after him.
And this is via Tyreek Hill's mom.
Mom talking to a friend.
Mom talking to a friend that Tyreek Hill wants to leave Miami.
I don't know.
Potentially.
Maybe he's not happy. I mean, it's kind of a poop show there, right?
I mean, until Tua comes back,
Tua will be back in, 3 weeks.
And he's a lot cheaper. I think his contract situation is a lot cheaper than Davante.
He's going to want the big money. Yeah, he's going to want an extension.
Bill Barnwell from ESPN commented, trading for Davante Adams would be a statement of intent, a sign this franchise will strike when the iron is hot and do what it takes to build a real winner. Adams to the Commanders would be the best fit for all parties.
Mm-hmm.
It's opinion.
Evie, the more I look at this matchup, the more I think that the Commanders absolutely just can't lose to the Browns.
Well, they certainly are capable.
They're the second worst in the league, 246 yards of offense per game.
Mm-hmm.
They average 16.5 points per game. Oh, and here's a bonus. Their offensive line has allowed the most sacks so far through 4 games.
The offensive line is bad because of the injuries.
Those are two things, though, that we don't do that great. We're not great at pressuring.
I know they're not great at pressuring the quarterback, but they pressured Kyler last week.
The run.
Yeah, I was going to say, last week they took advantage of a bad offensive line.
Right. Well, what did Baldy just say about the Browns? He said that Deshaun had a long touchdown pass, which was called back because of a shaky holding call.
Right.
And other people said that it was Deshaun's best game. And he said the defense is legit.
Okay, it's Deshaun's best game against a bunch of stinkers.
Yeah.
Who cares? You know what? I'm officially not worried about Deshaun Watson. Chalk me up as officially not worried about him.
All right, but worried about the defense. Worried about their ends.
Worried about the defense a little bit. Not worried about Deshaun Watson.
I'm not worried about Deshaun, but I am worried.
I wouldn't be worried about their offense.
Whatever random running back gouges us up the middle.
Yeah. Well,
it'll be two pretty good receivers. I think you're sleeping on this Cleveland game a little bit.
Maybe
I'll be humiliated if we lose.
It dovetails on being too high on the Commanders and snoozing on the just woefully inefficient on offense Cleveland Browns.
Right. They should win because I think they'll be able to run all over them. And Jaden's been playing great. And I think their rush defense has been terrible.
Eckler may be back too.
But I think their defense is going to be
a problem,
a little bit of a test.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right, let's go. Let me see here.
But if there is a player who can kind of bounce and get away from those ends,
right,
get out, it's JD.
All right. A bunch of people want to chime in on this. Some people say we are too high on him. Let's go to Derek in Culpeper. Derek, what's up? Derek, are you there? Valdez, is he punched up? Okay, let me put him on hold. Let's try Ron, Poolsville. Ron, what's up?
Hey Ron.
Guys, how you doing? I think you are just a little bit too high because they haven't played either the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, if they get splits, the real marker for me that they've arrived would be beating them away, either one of those teams. I don't know what the schedule's like right now.
You don't think the Bengal win on Monday Night Football was an impressive win?
It was. It was because it was an away game against talent that we know is there. But you got to beat guys in your division.
Hey, they've only had one opportunity to do that, and they did it.
Yeah.
It was an impressive win, EB, but it brings up the larger point on the defensive side. They didn't force a punt in that game.